The story kicks off as Hikaru spots a powerful beam of light shooting out from a building. Alarms blare inside, and the guards are freaking out after realizing something seriously important has been stolen. The thief is named Aki, and she makes an acrobatic escape, but the guards catch up to her on the roof. But Aki's no ordinary thief, she's a mecha-Yude host. So she whips out her weapon and starts taking them down, but they're packing anti-mecha-Yude gear. Despite her best efforts, she's captured and another host steps in, ready to reclaim the stolen cube. Aki's mecha-Yude isn't staying quiet, it speaks up insulted by how poorly its kind is treated. The blue-haired guy couldn't care less, seeing mecha-Yude as nothing more than tools for humans. He retrieves the cube and taunts Aki, but she's not done yet. With some tricks up her sleeve, she breaks free, and an epic battle ensues. The guy demands she be captured, but Aki is too quick and agile. In the chaos, she knocks the cube loose, breaking its container. Then a massive surge of power erupts from it, the same light Hikaru saw earlier. As the energy flares, Hikaru feels something strange, like a voice calling out for help. The next day, Hikaru heads to school, still shaken by what he saw. On the train, he suddenly has a panic attack and tries to rush back home, but his friends show up, unknowingly stopping him. Nearby, Iki is getting scolded for all the chaos she caused. She's told the cube is still somewhere nearby, and she promises not to mess up again. Later, we see Hikaru telling his friends about the strange voice he heard and the bright light from the night before. He explains that after getting a closer look, the building exploded. He even recorded it on his phone, but for some reason, the video shows nothing. Hikaru also mentions seeing something bright fall nearby, but that's not in the footage either. His friends don't believe a word of it, dismissing his story as some weird dream. They mock him for believing in ghosts, but then out of nowhere, Hikaru hears the voice again, and he's left in shock. Hikaru charges toward the mysterious voice, only to be stopped by some badass cop who warns him he's nearing a restricted area. The cop tells him to go home, but then just leaves him there like it's no big deal. Ignoring the warning, Hikaru hears the voice again, crying out for help. Something inside him snaps, and he dashes into the restricted zone, desperately searching for the source. His frantic search leads him to a glowing cube, the voice coming from within it asking for help again. Hikaru is now shocked but curious, so he ends up touching the cube anyway. The cube suddenly shoots straight up into the sky, and now Hikaru is in a state of extreme panic when he sees it come back down, but before it touches him, it unleashes a massive burst of power. The light is blinding, so intense that even Aki wherever she is notices it. Hikaru, however, has bigger problem. A giant arm suddenly sprouts out of his back, and the arm is celebrating its freedom. Even weirder, Hikaru can't feel the arm at all. Then, while he's still trying to figure out where the voice is coming from, the arm casually reveals itself. It thanks Hikaru for saving it and asks for his name, but Hikaru, understandably losing his mind, has no idea what's going on. But the arm tries to be polite and introduces itself first, only to realize it's forgotten its own name. Hikaru, in full panic mode, tries to shake it off, but the arm is stuck to his hoodie like some clingy pet. Then, before Hikaru can even process this madness, a drone shows up and declares that its target has been found. Hikaru, thinking it's just some delivery drone, ignores it in his attempt to ditch the arm. But surprisingly, this is not an Amazon package, it's a weapon of mass destruction, and now Hikaru has to run for his life. As he runs, Hikaru yells at the arm to leave him the hell alone and go hang out with its drone buddy, but the arm insists that Hikaru is its only friend now. In the chaos, Hikaru trips, and the arm accidentally yanks his pants off. Pantsless and panicking, Hikaru still manages to use the arm to fend off the drone and stop it from slicing him in half. The arm points out with perfect timing that now is really not the time for laughing. Then, to make matters worse, several more Terminator-style drones appear, so the arm, trying to keep Hikaru calm, tells him not to worry because they just need to work together to escape. Elsewhere, a group gets word that the trigger arm has been located. One guy's pumped to have it back, but the rest of them are losing their mind, furious that it's made contact with some random human. They're not sure who the kid is, but they figure he's just some civilian. The president of the group leaves the whole mess to the angry white rooster of a guy, who immediately orders a perimeter around the area, and his top priority is to capture the trigger arm, and he doesn't give a damn what happens to the kid. Meanwhile, Hikaru manages to hide for a moment, and the arm compliments him on being a pretty fast runner. Hikaru, still freaked out, demands to know what the arm even is, but it has no clue, not even its own name. The only thing it's sure of is that Hikaru's a stand-up guy. The arm goes on to explain that without something called arbitrium, it can't move freely. So Hikaru's confused, wondering what this arbitrium thing is, but the arm's all over the place and just asks for Hikaru's name. Hikaru, still not interested in chit-chat, walks off, pointing out that the arm seems to work just fine for escaping on its own. The arm concernedly warns that they might still be in danger, worried about Hikaru's safety. But Hikaru's not having it. He blames the arm for all the trouble and says he'd be safer if he got far away from it. The further Hikaru gets though, the more the arm starts to weaken, practically begging him not to leave it behind. Hikaru hesitates and rushes back to help, but the arm recovers just as quickly, so Hikaru tries to leave again. This back and forth goes on a few times, and it becomes painfully obvious that Hikaru has to stick close or the arm will lose its energy completely. Realizing he's got no other choice, Hikaru reluctantly throws his hoodie back on, with the arm still attached. Just then, the drones show up again, but this time, Hikaru snaps and demands that the arm do something useful. The arm doesn't hesitate, it grabs Hikaru and drags him off. Meanwhile, the blue-haired guy up top figures the drones are enough to handle this civilian, as he has to focus on Aki, who's lurking nearby. Aki is down below, but surprisingly she's so terrible with directions, so the voice in her ear is trying to guide her, telling her to go the other way, but instead of taking the long way around, Aki's arms contemplate smashing through the building, but she decides to squeeze through an opening instead. Meanwhile, Hikaru is still running for his life, but Aki eventually tracks him down, and she unleashes her arms to take the drones down with ease. Aki calls Hikaru's arm Alma and threatens it, warning that if it moves, she'll end it right there. Aki's arms remind her she's supposed to read some script to put her targets at ease, but they're rudely interrupted by the blue-haired guy, who's itching for revenge after last night's events. He ends up bickering with Aki's arms, of all things. Alma then points out a way for Hikaru to escape, and since Aki can't chase them with her arms out, Hikaru takes the chance. The drones of course keep coming after him, and Aki's anger skyrockets. Hikaru's already regretting the hell out of ever stepping foot in this restricted area, and the terror is written all over his face. Alma, seeing the mess he's dragged Hikaru into, tells him to just leave him behind. Everyone's gunning for them, and Alma doesn't want Hikaru caught up in it any longer. Hikaru hesitates because if he leaves, Alma will lose all his strength, and this moment shows just how kind-hearted Hikaru really is. Alma's resolve strengthens, and he reminds that he never wants to see good people get hurt, so he tells Hikaru to forget everything and run as fast as he can. Just then, Aki obliterates the blue-haired guy, and she's had it with Alma's constant running. Alma cornered surrenders and agrees to do whatever Aki says, as long as she lets Hikaru go. But Hikaru's no longer the same scared kid, so he's done with being a coward, and it also would leave a sour taste in his mouth if he ran away now. Aki, clearly fed up, decides she'll have to destroy both of them. But Alma does something unexpected. He tells Hikaru to step forward, but Hikaru hesitates confused, so Alma insists this is the only way out. Hikaru takes a deep breath, trusts the arm he just met, and charges forward. And in that moment, Alma undergoes a wild transformation, giving Hikaru the power to land a punch on Aki so hard that all she can do is reach out helplessly as they make their escape. They crawl out of a sewer not long after, and Hikaru finally introduces himself properly this time. Back at the building, some kid collapses in fury, demanding to know who stole his mecha Yude. He's seething, declaring that the trigger arm is his. Meanwhile, Aki's boss is disappointed to hear she let the arm slip away, but he gets it because no one could have predicted a civilian would manage to control Alma. Time's ticking though, and their enemies will be hot on their trail, so he orders Aki back out to retrieve the arm. Later on, Hikaru heads to school, trying to act normal while hiding the fact that he's got a giant, talking arm attached to him. He then thinks he's in the clear until he walks into class, and his heart sinks when he spots Aki, now the newest student in school. Ignoring everyone, the furious Aki drags her seat right next to Hikaru's seat, and introduces herself with a cold, angry glare, and that shit leaves our poor boy completely speechless. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to not miss the next part.